So when you're looking at as small a communities as we are,
Yeah.
the need it's great. To me, it's the most rewarding thing that we do. We do a check giving ceremony every year, and we're the sole provider for Joseph's Storehouse, which is a food bank in Carlton.
Okay.
And every year we give them enough that they feed 85 families a month.
Wow.
And when Myrna comes from Joseph's Storehouse with tears in her eyes and is so thankful, I know I get teary-eyed. It's so wonderful to see the community come together and volunteer, and people from outside of our communities come back and feel like, they're not just going to another festival. They're really making a difference in that community.
Which is why it's so important, because I think, it is a small town and a small community, and the idea that, some people are living, obviously in poverty and need food assistance, and yet there's all people driving in from out of town in fancy cars and limousines and drinking wine, and you like to think that there's a bridge, across that divide, and this is one of those bridges. But, I think it's true that Carlton is a community that does a lot of giving back. I mean, there are a lot of charitable events throughout the year, and, the town provides a lot of support for different charities, from kids to, as you say, food and families and all kinds of different things.
We give a lot back to the civic and educational services that we have. We've been able to provide bulletproof vests for all of our police officers in Carlton. We have helped to furnish and provide a good environment in the new firehouse in Carlton. We have given back bicycle helmets to the children of Yamhill. We have they can go, and if they don't have a bike helmet, they can go to the police officer there and get a free bicycle helmet.
I was there a couple of years ago when it was the thing that they do in the summertime, where they give away all the bike helmets.
Right. Yeah.
And we had a booth for the company that I worked for at the time, and those kids, so many, they were lining up. They got their helmet, they got their hot dog.
Yep.
Everybody was happy, but I was amazed at how many helmets there were.
Yeah, it is.
It seemed like there were hundreds.
It is. There are. And it's the kids come out of the woodwork, and they can't ride their bikes without a helmet, and we surely don't want them doing that.
Yeah.
So it's great to give back to that portion of the community,
sure,
as well as the higher needs as well.
Now you also have a business in the community.
Yes, we have a winery. It's called Folan Cellars, and it's right there on Main Street, and we are very happy to be a partner in Walk in the Park and be there and pouring our wines, but also be a part of a community that I really feel proud to be a part of.
How long have you had the tasting room there?
4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a winery as well
It
there?
is. It's not there. We're actually in Southern Oregon, so we're one of those outside businesses that have come in and really seen the potential that Yamhill and Carlton have, and started a tasting room there, and then kind of rejuvenated a few other spots. And when we opened there, we were the only one. Ken Wright was there, Tyra Seven was there, Selena and Scott Paul, but this Main Street was still vacant. And so then we said, this is too nice of a town to be vacant.
Oh, sure.
So put a little tasting room in there, and we have just been very pleasantly surprised by the great response that we've had.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I think it's great. So you'll have the classic cars there, you'll have the quilts, you'll have music, food, wine, fabulous art.
Yes.
You said there's like 50 artists?
Yeah, 50 artists from, we have people coming from really all over the West Coast. It's not just local artists, people that you wouldn't have a chance to normally see, people that don't do shows regularly, which I think is pretty neat, that they save up all of their time and energy for us. There's some local favorites. The Tin Man makes great, beautiful, colorful birdhouses. And I laughed. You can always tell how many years I've gone because I get one every year. So I think I have 8 birdhouses in front of my house now. They'll be there. Some people that are making hand-blown wine glasses.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Terry Peasley with his beautiful landscapes that he does. There's a woman, Alice Van Lunen, from Amity, that makes the most amazing paper quilts. They are woven paper. They are beautiful. They're just gorgeous.
It's a paper quilt, but it's like meant to be hung up as a work of art.
Yeah.
So are they like under glass?
Yes.
Oh.
Some of them are, and then some of them she actually leaves open because the texture on them are just so neat.
Oh, that's really amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
So how did you originally get involved as coordinator? Did they come to you and say, "Oh, by the way, Carol"?
Well, I come from a background in event planning, and when you start a grassroots project and it takes off, sometimes it's like the volunteer base needs a little help, and we always it's kind of like herding cats. So basically, we have a steering committee of members from our community that meet every week and discuss, the artists, the volunteers, the real technical backbone to the event. Laying out the park. How many tents are we going to need? Thinking about the security purposes and all the licensing we have to do. So basically, I just keep everybody in order and make sure they're on task, but they do all the hard work.
So does this wind up being sort of year-round for you?
Yeah, I mean, we meet monthly, year-round, and then as the event comes, we start meeting weekly. I ran over here from a meeting I was just at.
Weekly, hourly, text, email, cell phone calls. I'm driving, I can't talk.
We laugh, we say, the week before we should just all live in the park because we spend so much time there getting everything ready.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But it's great. Ken Wright, who's a huge community leader in Carlton, really spearheads the event and is the mastermind behind it and has always been. He's done a great job and probably one of the most charitable, hardworking men I know.
And he's the kind of person I think you can't say no to him. And here's why. Because he puts his money where his mouth is. He's in there donating, giving time, energy, money. And it's like setting a great example and being a total leader, as you say. So,
yeah, he's great. And he's a big part of why Carlton is the town it is today. Absolutely.
That's great.
Yeah, he does a great job. So this year we also have the trolley coming through.
Oh, the cute trolley.
The cute trolley, yeah.
I love that trolley.
We have kind of outgrown our parking area down there.
Yeah.
So we are encouraging people to park uptown and take the trolley down in and a little trolley ride, and they drop you off right at the front gate, so you don't even have to walk. So that's pretty nice. That's a nice added. It just feels really festive when they're there.
So is there like a place in town that you're asking people to park? Do you have a designated parking?
We have two main parking areas in downtown Carlton, long-term parking areas, and those will be labeled and there'll be directions towards those.
And so is the trolley then the only way that people would have to get from there down in, unless they wanted to walk?
Unless they wanted to walk, yeah.
It's not that far.
No, it's not. And you can park down in there. I mean, there is plenty of parking, but I prefer to ride the trolley.
Oh yeah, it's so fun. It's so beautifully restored.
My son last year, he comes with me. He just loves the event, and he disappeared for about an hour. And I was like, "Where were you?" He goes, "Oh, I was just riding the trolley around." So, safe, wonderful community. It's great. Jake Price from Jake Price Equestrian Tours.
Oh, right.
He's bringing two of his carriages.
Those are so beautiful.
Yeah, and those beautiful horses, and he takes people for a ride around the perimeter of the park, and so you really get to look at the park from a different angle and go through all the cars and everything. It's just another neat component of the event. We have been fortunate enough to be sponsored by Jim Dorn, has been sponsoring us this year.
Oh, nice.
Ken Wright, the News Register and the Oregon Wine Press have been great partners of ours for years. Really
publicizing the event.
And they do a lot of printing for us, our program that we hand out there, and just really have been supportive of our event. And without Jeb, we couldn't have got the word out as well as we have. We're doing some work with Kink and Couple this year, so you'll hear us on the radio.
Great.
You'll see us on the Oregonian. And so we're trying to get the word out, because once you come, you're always going to come back.
Right.
It's just a matter of getting you out into our little town.
It always seems like it's really full. So, yeah, I mean, it seems like this has really grown into, I would say, a very solid and successful summer festival.
And it's established itself, and it takes a small army to get it set up and to take it down. But at the same time, it is an event that I think it hasn't run its course, which I think a lot of these grassroots events can happen. All of a sudden, it's just kind of disappears, and I don't see us disappearing real soon at all.
Well, no, because I think, number one, people like to come to Carlton, and, I think one of the reasons that I'm just going to say this, one of the reasons I think it's successful is there's a lot of shade. Because if it's really, really hot and there's no shade, it's a bummer.
Right, it is.
And so the idea that you can go to a park and there's plenty of shade, and it might be 90 degrees, but you can cool off and you can sit down and, find a big glass of lavender lemonade,
right,
and
exactly,
or an ice cream cone that's like,
yeah.
eat it fast.
Eat it fast, that's right. We have added to, we learned a lesson about 3 years ago. I remember it was 100 degrees, and we were
I
just
remember that
so
too.
warm. And so we have added some undercover seating areas so that people can actually go sit down, also, under a tent and eat their food. We have the hay bales that are right underneath the trees. And then we've added awnings to all of our tents.
Right.
So the customers can walk through there and walk in the shade and not feel like they have to step completely in the booth to get out of the sun. And it really allows a better flow for the artists as well.
I think it's better for the artist too, but and it kind of breaks down that psychological barrier of, if I'm in the walls, I'm going to feel compelled to buy.
What
so
can I
keep
get
moving.
you? What can I get you?
Exactly.
Right, and so it really allows people a chance to browse.
And there's so many good things. Like, I love the hats.
Yes.
That's always fun.
Yes, she does a great job. And we have a gentleman, his name's Mark Frazier, that does free-form copper art. And last year he had a pterodactyl, and it was on a big spring, and it hung, and it was probably 5 feet wide. And it bounced in the air, and you would walk through there, and you'd feel like this huge pterodactyl was flying over you, and the kids would just look at it and think it was great. And so it's stimulating. Everywhere you go, there's something different to look at.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's just kind of an amazing thing to think that you can find so many artists and people that, of course, some people that come every year that the crowd would die if they weren't there. It's like, oh my gosh, where's my favorite person? But it's always a challenge to try to keep it fresh enough and finding new people to bring in, and so that you could say, well, it's not the same old thing that you saw last year, even though that wouldn't be, you wouldn't say the same old, but there is always something fresh going on, and of course, art being art. The artists all evolve and change, and they're doing new things.
Right.
Everybody, you can't say, oh, I saw his stuff last year. Well, it's like, you didn't see it this year, though.
It's like you said, they evolve, too, and they might get a different idea that month or that year, and they may have really focused on flowers that one year, and now it's natural landscapes, and it's really interesting to watch what they come up with.
That's one of the things I love about watching different artists is over time how their styles just do sort of evolve, and you can still see components of what they sort of maybe used to do,
right,
but then what they're doing now it just seems fresh and exciting, and I love that.
It is. It's great.
Wow, well, so I guess we should maybe just go over this again real quick.
Yes.
Why don't you give the dates?
So Saturday, July 23rd, and Sunday, July 24th.
Okay.
Saturday we run from 11 to 8, and Sunday we go 11 to 6.
Okay.
So you can come for lunch and dinner.
And they can go ahead and get tickets right there.
Right there, we right there on the spot is where you go. They can pre-purchase tickets, but I encourage people to just go and show up. It's the best way to go.
Yeah, no RSVP needed.
No RSVP needed, that's right. And you're welcome to come back for 2 days.
Perfect, okay. And then I guess maybe that's all the nuts and bolts of it. So
yeah, it is rain or shine. Yeah, hot or cool. So we'd like something in between there. But yeah, and Sunday mid-afternoon is when March 4th is coming, and entertainment all Saturday evening. So
perfect. Well, thank you, Carol, so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
For being here, and I wish you a very successful show.
Well, thank you. I hope to see you in the park.
You will.
Thanks.